Yes.
Kev, what are you doing?
Yeah, so fair play to him. Oh, he's there. Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's a sellout, isn't it?
What are you doing?
He's saying that's. I've just been watching the show this morning. Good show. He's saying that's a woman's handbag.
Well, okay.
No, Kev, no. Those words are coming out.
Cheers, Ken.
James Downey says, my wife has one in brown. Take from that what you want.
Oh, no. I saw that one, yeah. I got a little bit of stick from Carzo as well. Carzo was quickly on to me as well, so there you go.
What are you doing? What's the freebie, was it?
I think it looks all right.
Oh, no. I paid a lot of money for that. Good money for that, agent.
No chance.
You were paid good money for that. Is that what you said? More likely.
Where are you going on your travels? What's this like? Is this? I mean, the one thing I would say about you, Kev, you normally, with your social media activity that you're trying to get stuff under the radar, you normally do quite a good job on it in terms of sliding it under the radar a little bit. This one is like one of the most blatant things you've ever done.
I know. I'm just there for people, agent. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is. As soon as Dan Walker tweets you, that's when you know he's got about bloody 2 million followers. So that's it. I'm gone now.
It's all kicked off.
He's gone. He's gone global with. He's gone global.
Well, listen,
yeah, and I'm just getting a reply from Nathan Murphy's on as well. Nathan Murphy's even replying to that.
Nathan's probably just gutted that he hasn't got one of his own, I would think. Do you want to hang around for a few minutes, talk a bit of football?
Yeah, grand.
Good man. I mean, I don't know if that was your initial intention by putting up the handbag. You knew you were going to get the attention.
No, it wasn't.
You knew we were going to call you. You knew that Kenny was in the studio.
Ked's looking too smart. The Ked's looking too... What's it, 20 to 9 in the morning. He's got a crisp shirt on, jumper.
Fenchurch.
Have you got a pair of baggy tracksuit bottoms? You've got a pair of baggy tracksuit bottoms on there. You have, haven't you? There's no way you've got a pair of smart jeans on there as well.
Nice bit of branding on the jumper as well, Kenny.
20 to 9 in the morning. Nobody gets dressed like that in their house, do they?
But do you know what it is, Ken? Do you know what it is? No, I've had a flight at, 6:30 this morning, and now I'm back into Manchester. That's how it's gone.
Oh, right, gotcha. Oh, that explains it. Yeah.
He's different gravy, is that fella? Right, let's talk about football. Keep your comments coming into us, by the way, whether they're abuse aimed at Kevin Kilbane. We'll happily take those. Hashtag OTB AM or on the Facebook page or on the YouTube channel. Where things tend to get a little bit fruity. Keep your comments coming into us. We're going to talk football for the next 10 or 12 minutes or thereabouts. And first of all, can you get your take? You were on air sport duty, as you said, with Shay last night. You were watching Arsenal, who are pretty much through to the next phase. What was your hot take on Arsenal last night?
No, they played well. I spoke before the game and said, look, I just feel it's a strange thing to say, but I just felt as if Arsenal needed to spark their season alive again, just in terms of the atmosphere around the stadium. They've got a bit of discontent. And I just felt the players themselves, in terms of putting on a real kind of high energy performance and play the type of football that we haven't seen them play previously, just in terms of pulling the whole kind of club together in terms of what's left from between now and the end of the season, obviously Europa League in particular. And I thought they'd done that by and large. Some of the football I thought was outstanding. Ramsey was the one, showed real personality from the start of the game, literally grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. Some of the combination play between him, Owes in particular, Wilshere, Lacazette as well was fantastic. What we've come to expect at times from Arsenal. They just had too much for CSKA, some brilliant attack and play. But as is the case with Arsenal, just developed into kind of a table tennis match at times, committing so many players in the forward areas of the pitch when they give the ball away, so open to the counter-attack. And CSKA had some real opportunities. They scored the away goal. They could have easily got 2 or 3. Almost had double figures, I'd suggest, in terms of shots on target. Musa was on loan from Leicester, some people might remember. Had a really impressive game, high energy player, dynamic player. If he could actually finish, probably showed the reason why he's actually on loan at CSKA Moscow. Not a very good finisher, more kind of prolific finisher, better finisher, would have exposed Arsenal. But a typical Arsenal performance, but at the same time, really impressive. The type of performance they needed, and even the atmosphere, bit of singing around the stadium, not the shots to the supporters that you get in the stand, a few smiling faces. So that was all good to see. Really the type of performance that they needed, so I was pleased.
The big talking point of the week obviously was Liverpool and City, and I think initially everybody was of the view that this game is cooked, it's done, it's finished. Is it done?
No, I don't think it's done. Just a couple of small, I think for me, you'd expect Liverpool to go through. I think we all would. But yeah, just in terms of the fact, I think the Henderson suspension for me, we got that yellow card, I thought, oof, he's not available. And now for me, Henderson's a key player. at Liverpool in terms of where they are at this moment in their development, in terms of the role that he plays in that holding midfield there. Probably had this conversation before. I don't think they got a natural replacement for him. I know Kevin probably might argue Emre Can to drop into that position. It's a natural fit. Not for me. I think he's got his limitations from a defensive point of view. So I think that's a potential problem in terms of who he drops into that area of the pitch. And obviously Salah, some questions about him, whether he's going to make the starting lineup as well. So I think there is hope for Manchester City, but it's all about Manchester City, the type of performance. Forget about Liverpool, the team they can put on the pitch. It's all about the type of performance Manchester City can deliver. And if they could rewind and kind of replicate the type of performance they gave a week ago against Everton, the first 45 minutes against Everton was as good. I think it was generally acknowledged this is as good as you're going to see in terms of football they played. You know, they stayed loyal to their team shape, back four, midfield three. You can see it already. Fernandinho sitting a bit deeper, Silva, De Bruyne, and the front three. That was front five. Some of the combination play, the patterns of play which they put in place, absolutely phenomenal. And we were just expecting them to transplant that onto the pitch, onto Anfield during the week, and we never saw it. I couldn't believe how he deviated, not just the Sterling thing and Gundogan going in, but in terms of how he flipped that midfield shape. He dropped De Bruyne into an orthodox midfield two alongside Fernandinho, played Silva almost as number 10, and I couldn't understand it. I literally could not understand why he did it.
Explain to us a little bit what is the ideal setup in that midfield three.
Well, we've seen it all season. We know in terms of how they play, centre half split, full backs get themselves high, Fernandinho drops a little bit deeper, Silva and De Bruyne get themselves in those little inside gullies, a little bit 10-15 yards in advance. They're the areas which is very difficult to pick up. They're off the shoulders of the opposition midfielders. They're too far down the pitch. Centre halves don't step in. Full backs naturally don't come in and deal with the media because they've got Sane and Sterling dragging them wide. So it's all premeditated and pre-planned on the training pitch. These positions which they take up, patterns of play, we used to call them as Kev when we were training, but they're so regimented, like, and they understand so in terms of the positions of the pitch they need to be on, and they work the ball so quickly, 1 and 2 touch, and it's been blowing people away. It really has. And when Guardiola said we're not going to change, this is my philosophy, we take him at his word because the proof's in the pudding. They've been so good at it. They've literally blown people away. So to change it, for me, just being too clever. Why tinker with it in terms of formation and personnel? I still don't understand.
So, like, we might get Kevin's thoughts on this one as well. So Trent Alexander-Arnold gets man of the match. Do you think, and I'm not sure, do you think this as well, Kevin, the reason for that is because he's only being pulled in one direction. He doesn't have to worry about the other guy inside him, the inside 9 or whatever, the Silva or the De Bruyne, who would have been playing on the left of those two advanced 10s, let's say. So you've only got Sane on the outside to worry about. You don't have the guy on the inside to worry about. Do you think that was a big factor?
It's a great show, because the difference of playing with a 10 Silva, he operates mainly centrally in that advanced position. So generally speaking, it's responsibility one of the two centre halves maybe to step in. But you're right, when you play with those two number 8s, generally people will call them Fernandinho 6, the two advanced 8s, they play in those little pockets a little bit wider. So you're right, they actually entice those fullbacks at times a little bit narrower alongside their centre halves, and even at times actually to go in and think I can actually go and nail him, Silva. And you're right, that opens space up for that big switch to the wide man, who actually they operate as wide as possible for that reason. They want to make those distances as big as possible, and that's why you see those big diagonals hit to Sane and Sterling, and he takes a touch, and he's running at the fullback, as opposed to what you were saying, Alexander-Arnold being able to hold a wider starting position, so when Sane gets the ball, he can get there quicker, possibly force him down the pitch or make physical contact with him before he has that extra 1-2 touches and builds up a head of steam, and he's very difficult to stop at that moment. So you're right, they're the kind of subtleties that I'm talking about, which for me actually disrupted Manchester City's rhythm and meant they couldn't find any kind of tempo to their play till the last 20 minutes, where they actually morphed. I don't know whether it's a subconscious thing or Guardiola did it. They actually finished up with the shape they should have done with Fernandinho, De Bruyne and Silva, and we actually thought we saw a little bit of that kind of interchange of play that we'd seen previously, but it come too late in the game, and I just couldn't believe what I was saying before that.
Personally, I think on Trent Alexander Trent Arnold, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'll get that name right for you. No, but personally, I think he'd had a lot of stick leading into that game. I think that the one thing they looked at, overall, when the things that I was reading was he couldn't deal with Wilfried Zaha last weekend in the Crystal Palace game, and I felt that got into his head. And I'm sure Jurgen Klopp must have spoken to him that Leroy Sané probably having a better season overall than Wilfried Zaha, and I think he got into him a little bit as well and said, look, you've got a one-on-one battle here, deal with your man, and that is your only responsibility on the game. And I think that would have got into his mindset maybe on the Monday and the Tuesday leading into that game. And it's as good a one-on-one showing from a defensive point of view. Kenny was always very, very good on, even if he had to play in a wide area and in the right back position, on a one-on-one situation, getting tight to your man. That was his only responsibility that he had. Maybe something that Kenny's touched on there, not necessarily having to deal with anything else. And I think one-on-one against Wilfried Zaha last weekend, he struggled, whereas I think that was in his mindset, I'm going to do a better job one-on-one defensively.
Well, Kev, you make a great point there, but I feel as if you've got to give credit to the manager there, Klopp, because he would have had a decision to make. Kev said there he had a couple of difficult moments against Zaha, so Klopp had a decision to make. Nathaniel Clyne now is back available, a more experienced player in England international. Temptation would have been, surely, I won't take a risk with the youngster, I'll take him out. That would have been understandable. I'll put the more experienced player, and he didn't. Showed a huge amount of belief in that young player by giving the jersey and putting him, now you're me man, I have belief in you. He must have felt like 10 foot tall walking onto that pitch, Alexander Arnold, because he would have had his doubts after that Crystal Palace game. He's not going to play me, he's not going to take that risk against Sana. We know how well he's been playing, and he repaid that in absolute bucket loads. Now you flip that to Guardiola's decision in terms of Sterling. We know he's had a difficult reception there the last couple of times he's been there, the atmosphere there, maybe it's affecting him a little bit psychologically. I mean, he's in great form of late, but he's made the decision, no, I'm not going to expose him, I'm going to take you out. What's that saying to Sterling? Like, I don't trust you mentally. I'm not sure.
Take that point on, Kenny, right? Like, what does this say about Liverpool going forward? Because nobody thought this was the next natural step. Nobody thought this was the next natural step for Liverpool. So is this, like, is what happened during the week a pointer?
Sorry, Agent, to win the Champions League, you're saying?
Nobody thought Liverpool were going to beat Manchester City 3-0.
No, but I personally thought they'd win the game, and I thought that if they were going to win the game, it'd be in that manner, real high-tempo football, really going at them, causing City problems. I personally felt they would win the game. I didn't think 3-0. I think you're right in saying that, but I personally think that Liverpool had as much a chance to win the Champions League as Man City did. So I think they're overpriced in the market.
What sort of a pointer is this then to Liverpool's future? Like, are Liverpool about to become the next dominant force in English football? Is this evidence of that? Or
they're on their way, but they have been for some time, and all the caveats we've thrown in, a bit of a soft as a centre defence kind of goalkeeper. They're a long way to resolving those issues. Van Dijk's come in, and we can't underestimate the impact that he's had. Very impressive the other night, not just his individual play, just in terms of that kind of force of personality we're talking about, communication skills, people, in terms of the effect he's having on people around him, which good players do. They raise their level as well. So we're seeing that across the defensive line. Karius looks playing with a little bit more confidence as well. We know Keita is going to come into the football club. For me, is going to improve them in that central midfield area. So they're on their way, but I think they have been, Liverpool. The signs have been there that they're heading in that direction. They're the ones who are really breaking from the pack in terms of potentially really challenging Manchester City for that title next season. I don't think they're too far away. Like I said, the introduction of Keita, maybe one or two areas of the pitch. There's not too much more, though. For me personally, I think that they have to add to that squad. They're very much on their way in terms of challenging. Just
a very quick one from both of you before we wrap on this aspect of it. If you're Barcelona or Real or one of the other contenders, just briefly, who do you rather in the next? Who would you rather get in the final, City or Liverpool?
I think if it was a Barcelona, I think they would much prefer to play against Manchester City. I do. I think City got better players, but I think Liverpool's front three can hurt them all, particularly the way that Barcelona played. Barcelona like to go and press sides. They play a higher line, a little bit different from Guardiola's side, don't get me wrong, but they still play a high line. It's a natural press that's within that side, and Liverpool could hurt Barcelona badly. I think they prefer to play against Man City and go, I'll tell you what, we'll give you a game of football in the middle third of the pitch, whereas you're not going to get exposed. Real Madrid probably a little bit more defensive oriented. I think they're better organised defensively, so they may be able to have the tools to contain Liverpool better than Barcelona.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think both teams playing at their very best. Manchester City and Liverpool, for me still, Manchester City are the strongest team, the most dangerous side, but they are far well below those standards the other evening, Manchester City. And Liverpool are capable. And whereas at the start of this campaign I looked at Liverpool and thought actually they cannot win this competition because of the reasons that I said in terms of the players who've come into the football club and that surge in terms of the quality of football which they're playing. Probably about a month, 6 weeks ago, I looked at Liverpool and thought, yeah, this is a team now that can actually go on and win this competition. So I think both are capable. For me, Manchester City playing at their best, the kind of form that we've seen, are still best equipped to go of the two English teams to go and win the competition.
Before we wrap, I just want to get your thoughts on the two derbies of the weekend. They're actually difficult enough games to preview, Kenny, and the fact that who knows what team Liverpool is going to put out, who knows what team Manchester City is going to put out for the Manchester derby. The Merseyside derby, Kev, live and off the ball with Nathan and Alan Stubbs tomorrow. But difficult games to preview.
Yeah, I'm actually at the Merseyside derby myself. I'm looking forward to it. It just depends what team Liverpool play. I can't imagine Jurgen Klopp's going to risk Mo Salah. I can't imagine that he's going to. It wouldn't surprise me if he didn't even risk maybe a Firmino, left him out. Solanke would probably come into the game. I think it'll be a bit of a makeshift Liverpool side, and it's totally understandable. There'll be probably a little bit of criticism towards Klopp if he were to change the team, as I do expect. But it's understandable. That the game is the priority against Everton against City on the Tuesday. That's the way it's got to be. But I think Everton have got a chance if there are changes. That's the only way. Everton play with a bit of tempo. The atmosphere at Goodison Park could maybe drive them through. I'd maybe sit on the fence a little bit. I think maybe as an Evertonian, I'd probably look at maybe a draw there. I'd probably say a draw. The other side, I think City will beat Man United on Saturday evening. I think they've got too much for them. That's the way they'll probably view both games.
You can use that handbag as a cushion there when you're sitting on the fence.
It's not a handbag. It's not a handbag, Adrian.
Handbag.
The Manchester derby, Kenny. Like, I think a lot of teams are going to be looking at what Liverpool did to Manchester City, obviously during the week, as a potential way to sort of try and replicate some of that. But like, Mourinho's more conservative. It's hard to see them bringing that intensity almost to it.
Yeah, but I think it's easy for Klopp of the week, Klopp for me in terms of team selection. Very little, for me, I'll be putting the same back forward out, Liverpool goalkeeper, keep that the same, make a few tinkers higher up the pitch. I think that's reasonably easy in terms of decisions Klopp has to make. Guardiola's the one for me. I'll be absolutely fascinated to see how he sees it, because even this game of the weekend, as big as it is against Manchester United, he has to be prioritising the second leg against Liverpool. He's got to be almost picking his team now for the team which he wants to start against Liverpool in the second leg, and then is just the team at the weekend accordingly. He has to find a pairing at centre half. For me, I'd be tempted to throw Stones and Laporte against Liverpool next week. They're really exposed in that area of the pitch, and I think if you're going to play them against Liverpool next week, you got to get them together. You got to get the minutes on the pitch. So I'd be thrown down. I'd actually be playing as best I could. Me starting 11 against Manchester United. Trying to start against Liverpool. Yeah, just get them back. Just get it back on track. You know what I mean? Just those patterns of play I'm talking about. Just get them back into the groove again.
Actually attacking the game properly, winning the game, building a bit of momentum might be just the thing they need going into.
Yeah, I think so. Whereas Klopp can think is not such a problem. City for me, for me, they have to almost get their starting 11 now. And I know if Kompany's going to start against Liverpool, he can play an extra game. He might be the one exception. But I think he has to get as close to his starting 11. I don't think he can tinker with it again at the weekend and again make those 4, 5, 6 changes for the Liverpool game midweek. I think he's got some huge decisions to make at the weekend. Guardiola, far more simple for Klopp, and he's earned the Klopp in terms of the performance a couple of days ago. He's made it a lot easier for himself.
Couple of things before we go, Kenny. I don't know if you've given your take on the most controversial talking point of the week. We know
Kev's bag, innit?
We know
we've done that.
We know Kev's taken this already. Ronaldo, did he mean to hit it roughly where he hit it, or was that a hit and hope?
Oh no, here we go. We'll never know. But what we do know is in terms of he was looking to.
What do you think?
I think he was looking to hit it in that part of the goal.
That's what I think, Kev. That's what I think.
That side of the goal. If you were asking me,
I've at last found a former professional footballer who'll back up my opinion.
Yeah, I think he meant to hit it that side of the goal to the keeper's left.
Yeah.
In terms of where it actually hits the net, how high up the net.
No, I'd agree. That's
similar
all
to the Rooney. Similar to the Rooney volley.
Kenny, if you go for an overhead kick, you look to hit the target. That's all you try to do. Get a good contact and hit the target.
Don't rubbish Kenny's opinion. The people spoke during the weekend. We were all in agreement. No, he said it was a hit and hope.
No, hit and hope. I'm not saying it's hit and hope.
No, he's just agreed with us, Kev.
You look to get a good contact and hit the target. You don't want to put it in a certain part of the goal. You look to hit the target. That's all you do. No, it's not a hit and hope.
I'll be a bit more precise than that, Kev. I think he actually looked to head for that side of the goal to the keeper's left. I think the way he angled his body. I think so. I think he had that amount of control on it that he was looking to hit it to the keeper's left. If you split the goal in two, to that side of the goal. Yeah, similar to the Rooney to an extent as well.
Yeah.
Ken.
No.
Honestly.
He's right, Kev.
Right. I was actually playing football with Kenny on Monday, right? And Kenny has never even taken a shot on in his life, whether that's in training.
You see, he just starts this is Trump stuff now. It's just he starts with rubbish. Exactly.
Who needs a friend like that? Who needs a friend like that?
He's
Conor McGregor.
He's like
Sergio. Conor McGregor ahead.
He's like Garcia now. He's just like throwing anything that comes at him.
Kevin, finish. I want to hear what he has to say.
There's a lot of relevance to what I'm saying. Somebody who actually knows how to take a shot at goal would know what's being said. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
And who is that person?
Well, someone who's actually shot before at least once in their whole career.
Yeah.
But I fundamentally disagree with that.
I also fundamentally disagree with it.
This comes back to the attitude. If you haven't played to a certain standard, you
rubbish.
can't comment.
You're not a football man, you know, like this rubbish.
You never played. I've never executed an overhead kick. So
Kevin has executed an overhead kick.
It's like talking to Shay, even start talking
I didn't mean it though.
He still executed one.
One last thing before we let you away, lads, because we had a bit of conversation earlier, Kev, I don't know, in between sort of tweeting pictures of your handbag, if you got a chance to watch that a bit earlier, but Kenny was talking about the footage of him. It was a documentary that was made during the 2002 World Cup about the journey to.
I did. I was watching earlier on. Yeah, I remember Kenny singing. I remember Kenny singing on the plane coming back from Iran.
Well, hold that thought. So we're going to just play a small clip of this. This clip starts with on the pitch in Tehran after the playoff. Matty Holland at the full-time whistle. Take a look.
Over the moon, you know, we played really well. Enough on the night. We're really pleased. We worked ever so hard, and throughout the campaign, I think we deserve this. We've done it for ourselves, but we've also done it for the people back home. We're chuffed to bits.
The boys, they've worked their nuts off for 4-5 years. We've not got what we deserved over the years, but this certainly makes up for it.
I think for Mick as well, he can put the jack arrow behind him now. He's qualified for a World Cup. Brilliant, what a way to do it as well. You know, all the big names gone out of the Irish team, and then young lads breathing through.
Bound for home, it was time to open the champagne at last for the high-flying Irish team.
Well, Lee thought he'd take a trip to World Japan. He played every instrument I got. Like a lad, sure he beat the whole lot. Well, the old church bells will ring. Hell's bells! The old church choir will sing. Hell's fire! They all turned out to say farewell.
And down below on the ground, the singing had long since started as the stay awake all night fans sang songs of welcome to their homecoming heroes.
What was that song?
The Big Strong Man, was it?
Was it?
The
reaction, see the lads' faces, Kev, when I started singing as if turning.
Steve Finnan was like, oh my God.
It wasn't just Steve Finnan, let's be honest. Oh my God, horrible. I've
heard that lots. Kenny's actually very good. The crack was 90 in the Isle of Man as well.
Oh, is it?
He knows the whole words to that song as well.
That's going to be the next outside broadcast, Kev. I think that's, you know.
Yeah.
Did you notice when we were coming through the airport at the end there, I was holding it, hanging it, W.H. Smith bag, old school. There's no man bag draped across my shoulder there. Just wedge everything you can into those plastic bags, carry your bags.
Kev, been a pleasure as always.
Go on, all the best,
lads. Take it easy.
Good luck.